Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, hello. Hola, Aurora.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Very good. Welcome.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me over because
Of
I've heard
course.
wonderful things about your space. It is so colorful. I'm so excited.
It is full of colors. That is true. Hi, my name is Aurora Molina. I'm a fiber artist here from Miami, originally from Cuba. And this is my studio in Coral Gables.
So Aurora and I, well, you were in my show that I curated a few years back. It was you and 12 other extremely talented artists like you. It was so much fun. So thank you so much for doing this. So what is Red Thread Studio?
So, Red Thread Studio started as an extension of my studio. I had a group of wonderful artists, beginners in fibers that started to come to my classes. I teach adult classes on Wednesdays. And in 2020, the city of Coral Gables had approached a couple of artists with a beat, which is a business initiative program that activated Miracle My some spaces that were open. So we were like 10 artists in there, and after that, I sort of like tasted the community. Again, there's no many artist studio, not many no studios in Coral Gables, and I have left the big house in 2017.
Yes.
So I've been in this building for 8 years. And after that program from the city, I kind of like wanted to activate part of like what was Coral Gables in the 90s, like that vibrancy and the gallery. So these group of students, I approached them and I said, listen, I know in the building there's a humongous space. It's 5,000 square feet. If you want studios, I could start thinking about that idea. I can approach the owner. And that's how the little light went on. I approached them. The pandemic started. And it was sort of like a wait time, kind of like figuring out who was going to come in. Some people that at the beginning wanted to join had to take other studios, and then that took about 2-3 years, and we are on our first year anniversary on this space that I will show you right now.
Oh my gosh. So that was the initial spark. Is it specifically for women in the fiber arts community?
I think I never had it, picture clear. I think I wanted to do it with people that were already interested. I knew that it had to be with this group to walk in together to sort of like make it happen. And it happened that most of them were doing other works, but fiber art was sort of like the main component. Most of them are also artists from Fama, Fiber Arts Miami Association, which this is also the hub for workshops and things too. And I think in my mind right now, it's sort of like a fiber textile art center in the future, kind of like organically happen in here. So we'll see. It's our baby.
Oh, show me around.
So the space was huge. And I needed to have like little spaces organized. So my husband, he's a art handler, so I have to give him credit. It's eye level services.
All the art handlers in the world.
Yes. So this is all my ideas put into, but materialized by him.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like I was thinking about sort of like optic arts with thread. We created these corners here. Then I knew this was gonna be sort of like a space for gatherings, workshops. I needed something movable out of the way, and we got to build these tables that come apart. Right now, I'm working on this piece, so it comes in handy. It's an 8x8 table. All the sewing machines, fabrics, books, library. Sort of like a bigger atelier in a sense.
This is first, can I comment on these?
Yeah.
They're beautiful. What a collection. Do you use them all?
We have days that we've used them all. We had a performance with Red Thread Girls.
Yes.
Our first activation in the space, and we used them. That was pretty cool. These piece I'll show you because I did it back in 2006, and it's a collaboration with my dad. It was for an installation class, and it just feels like it's this welcoming sitting at the big table. It was a tapestry that I scanned, so that's why it has that textile quality to it. And then it was kind of like photoshopped with all these ladies that have changed history. So
I see Sophia Loren.
Yeah,
I
so
love her.
It's kind of like a conversation opener. These here, it's the atelier where I teach. I have Play Studio Atelier. I teach about 50 kids a week. It's a program that runs Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. And this is for certain my happy place.
What's the so is it just like young students? Or
it's kids. Age I've had them as young as 3.5. I had a toddler program.
Really?
But that died out because I don't have a sink here. So I'm minimal at painting. We've replaced it with many other things, but not big mess with painting. And the idea is that these are portraits of my students. This mural, they painted them. I draw them, they painted them, and then my dad came with a black outlining and finished it. So these have been my students over the course of 6 years that I had the studio for kids open.
This is so beautiful. I love the touch of having the students' faces all over.
And these are artists, of course. It's very didactic. I make reference to most of them are my favorite artists from all time. So,
amazing!
It truly is a place where magic happens. It's our happy
Stella
place.
over here.
Yes,
Stella's your daughter.
Yes, a little artist in the making.
She's definitely an artist in the making. Hey, Stella.
So, like I said, I started to create little caves. These here, funny enough, it's a safe. It was a safe at one point. This space was a bank. So these are like,
this used to be like a vault?
Yes.
What?
And it's where I keep my treasures. So I think
look at all these threads.
I think it's very paradoxical.
This is a piece of art.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
And
is this swing? Does it? Okay. Let me see.
No, así no suave. Suave.
Amazing. Because you have to put a swing in a studio.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
It's going to be fun.
You have all this thread. This is so beautiful.
And I made this. Look.
You see?
Look.
Cuida que te cae.
This is mine when I was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
You made the tiger?
It to my mom. This is what I made.
Over here? Whoa. Gosh. It's incredible, Stella. And this?
So this machine, it's a quilting machine. It's a long arm. I'm currently working on a 7 feet long piece that I'm sort of like coloring with wool, with yarn. This is like a little sketch, and it's a piece that deals with immigration. These are people crossing the Darien from Venezuela all the way to the States.
Yeah.
So,
do you normally, do you usually stitch by hand many of your things? And
I do. Some of them, some of the pieces required more tedious kind of, slow and steady kind of like stitching.
Yes.
This one, it's on the machine, so it does go pretty fast. But I'm doing something that's called couching. It's all rolled up in here.
This is the funnest studio because you have a bunch of goodies.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Okay, you want me to hold you?
Whoa.
So this one runs through here.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like, so it's all of these color, like these, to mimic those colors.
Wow.
It's a lot of work.
Close like this.
This has been in the works for like 3 months, and it has like another 3 good months to go.
How long does it usually to start to finish a piece? Because I know there's a lot of care.
Yeah, but
Some pieces go faster.
Yeah.
Some pieces require more time. Just I think because I'm deciding what to do in that process. Some other, like the one I'll show you now that I just did for Pinta, was like a 3-week full-time extra time. So I guess if I space it out, it could have taken like 2-3 months.
Right.
In a crunch time, it was like 3 weeks of like 10 hours a day.
I think this room is so cozy.
And I love the paradox that is, where I keep my treasures. It's all different for everyone.
Different. And you have this baby. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's music box.
It's a music box. How cute.
For real?
Aurora. That's so cute. You have a collection of sewing machines?
I get lots of gifts and antiques. So that one was a gift. I have another one from the 60s.
Yep.
They're so beautiful. Oh, it's the coolest. It's so cool.
Yeah, I had to.
Okay.
And of course, my students love to sneak in here.
Because of the colors.
These did not exist until I figured that I only had a little room for myself and I had accommodated everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I think I need to get situated where, I could use these walls, like I could open them up, put the fabric. These are the pieces that I'm working on. So it turned into a felted studio. Every space, it's sort of like organized to do the technique in place, because it requires a different kind of equipment, a different kind of setup. So this one here, it's more like felting, where I could just organize and get all the colors. This is all the wool wall, all the needles, carding machine. And then this is where I hang all my wool. I go once a year to Oaxaca.
Oh, really?
In Mexico. I've been working with these artisans for a very long time. And I go there and dye all my wool, pack it up, bring it. And I have to create these little cakes
for it. Yeah.
That then turn into sort of like the color palette that I'll be using. This is actually a piece from an artist friend of mine that we traded, and I just loved it. Yeah, so it is for the personal collection.
Wow. How's the travel over there?
To go to Oaxaca, I've been going since 2012. And I started to do my first artist residency back in 2011
Mhm.
in Puebla. And everyone, I've already was inclined to fibers. And everyone started to say, you have to go to Oaxaca, you have to go to Oaxaca. Indeed, I went to Oaxaca the next year. And I never went anywhere else in Mexico, I think. Because it's like, it's the hub for textiles.
Textile, that's right.
So I work with many artisans in there. I work with a textile museum. I did a beautiful project in there. Work with different communities, kids, sort of like work with an anthropologist who understood where all these
Wow.
sort of like embroidery and weaving comes together.
Yeah.
And Oaxaca, it's a whole universe. So I've kept very close contact with the artisans, and I go and do my yarns in there once a year. I'm planning to go in May, taking the girls, some of them for the first time. So we're very
that's
excited.
Incredible. Oh, this is such an interesting tool.
So this is a carding machine. I started to do these pieces. We visited a home residency for elderly during Thanksgiving with Stella School, and it sort of like brought back a lot of the work that I had done with the elderly.
This is how you use it.
So I had to get all my gadgets ready because I knew I wanted the warmth of the wool.
The wool.
So it's all felted. She helps me from time to time.
That is so interesting.
And then you put the wool, and then when it's already all mixed, when this is all with a lot of wool like this, it's not ready. But when it's like all stuffed in and you can't see this part, you take it out.
And are those panels that...
those panels that are over there on the table.
Whoa.
I made some with the felt that was left
Leftover.
over piece from my mom that she made a dirty piece that there were two sister and brother, and there were one was 100
and two?
and two, and the other one was 76, something like that.
96.
And then you kind of get this.
Exactly.
And you do this.
So these are all
So
individual.
these are all the leftovers from the piece that my mom did, or the leftovers from the wool that we have used for all the workshops and all of those.
It's like a sea of color.
I don't know what's
It
gonna
looks
turn
like water,
into.
you know?
This part, my mom is gonna put like a new one of these, but wet, on top of the holes that there are.
You got it.
Wow.
Oh, so this is
This is like, yeah, I love your dance studio mirror.
This
so,
was...
yeah, that's the piece that I was talking about. That's the brother. And
This is
sister.
incredible. I first saw it when I came in, and I was like, I wonder how she did that.
This is all needle felting.
Yeah.
So this piece was rushed.
She got the photo. I'll tell you all the steps. First, she got the photo. Then she did the drawing. She projected. Then she did the drawing, and then she started putting the colors that were in the photo. And now this is what it's all. And then her gallery says, "That's not me. That's not me."
Because
on Instagram.
everyone at Pinta thought it was a portrait of Bernice.
Yeah.
And Peter.
And Peter, yes, indeed.
The thing is that with the texture, it just has the three-dimensional quality. It almost looks like it's popping out.
I've done, I learned how to felt in a residency I did in Holland. It was my first encounter.
Mm-hmm.
And that was back in 2016. And then sort of like I tried to, when I learned these techniques from traveling and meeting the artisans and whatnot, I tried to wait for the right moment to have the technique come in that fits the concept of the work. So
it's incredible.
I wanted that warmth feeling in here.
So this one is
and you have this one
picture of all the artists.
I love this.
So this is the beginning of the Red Thread Studio. This was in the space that I'll show you now. The space was completely empty. And it's sort of like foreseeing the connection of the red thread. So these are artists. Some of them did started with the studio. Some of them I invited, like Gucci. She's a very good friend of mine, and it's a fashion designer. So I was foreseeing people that came into the picture with an element of a technique so
Why
it's
red thread. What's so special about that color?
The red thread, it's that philosophy of something or how we're connected to each other as an invisible thread. It's like the degrees of separation, the people that you're supposed to meet along your life that sort of like, gets there, meet you, start a friendship at the right moment. And I feel like this is how the studio started. One day we are at this open space and I said, just like the red thread. So, like the Kabbalah, it's this philosophy that we're all connected in a way. Or you are meant to come to meet certain people in your life because you're, destiny calls for it. So this is an iteration of the Velázquez hilanderas.
Yes.
And the idea was to change the paradigm from the domesticity of these plays, showing all these artists in action using fibers as a medium to express themselves, not only or solidly, because, it's what belongs to us, it's or what we're meant to do, but sort of like the autonomy of grabbing it and saying something with thread. So
I love it. It's such a nice, welcoming, piece to see all the women together.
And this is a little space.
This is Stella's studio.
You good dog now. This is your time to shine.
This is my studio. I always mean like, welcome to my world, because my world is always colorful, how you see. And now I'm doing this painting. It's about two Fridas that we went to Mexico. And I'm doing an interpretation of the two Fridas. And my mom said, no, you can't copy it. And then she took the photo and then I had to, boom, do my colors on my painting.
Frida would definitely have rainbow color hair.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But this one I made a mistake, so I'm going to do this one like blondish.
We'll see. We'll see what comes out.
So now
And this is all your artwork.
Yeah. Oh, just telling you, this one, it moves. Look.
Oh my gosh. So this is such a cool way to display work because you have both sides.
Yeah. And the same one with these.
Oh, I love these. And you did all of them? Be careful.
Yes.
And this was a show we had at the Frank in Pembroke Pines.
That's me and my dad, but I forgot to do a face, so I left it like that.
It's okay. Sometimes the work is nice unfinished.
Yeah. So this one, this one too.
I see Taylor. Is this Taylor Swift?
Yes. And that one is Ariana Grande.
I love Ariana Grande. You like her?
Yeah.
Love her too.
So that one is me with my two dogs, and I pretend that I have a dog because I love dogs, but I'm allergic to them.
You're allergic to dogs? I'm sorry.
And this, and I made this.
That is cool.
So that is the two are my cousins. Guess which one are my cousins?
I would say two in the middle. No?
Not
No.
me. But the one that's sitting down in the motorcycle is me in the middle, and then the two in the sides are my cousins. The one that's blondish and the one that's like this.
Oh.
And the other two are my cousins. Those are me. And then this, I use the felting like you saw in those. And this, I drew it in Procreate. I don't know if you have that app in your iPad, but it's a very good app because you could take the photo, put it in your iPad, and then you should trace the photo, and then boom.
That was teaching me something new. I had no idea. I love your shoe. You have everything organized.
Yeah.
Who
Oh,
are
and
these? Are
then-
these just like little letters?
Yeah, if you want to put some, you can put something.
I'll write something for you.
So here, this is a landscape. I'm going to have a competition with people, and I'm starting to finish it. Yesterday I couldn't because I had lots of things. So I'm trying to finish it today because I need to give it to them today, I think. I don't know, today. Maybe.
Today's the last day, so get to it. Here,
This place is so big.
these are the studios at Red Thread.
Whoa.
There are currently 15 artists. This is Sarah Lynn, who's it's in education at the Lowe's. It's art therapist by training, but I think she always had the fiber bug because she's a recent acquisition from Chicago. She found this community through Fama and ended up here. She's a wonderful person, educator, artist.
15.
Here it's a whole section of Brazilian artists. Fernanda.
Fernanda, hi. I know Fernanda.
Cynthia, it's on task. It will be a future artist in-house. She doesn't know it yet. Roberta, who's been trained for a long time as a psychologist, and it's diving into this world too. I think many artists in here have a profession for many years, but they've always been artists.
Yeah.
So it's just giving themselves the right amount of time to dedicate it to their craft right now. This is an interactive piece.
Can you fit in there, Stella?
That's so...
Oh, wow.
So you could see how convenient it is to have the kids. They love coming here, meeting the artists, and
Kidding? I feel like a kid in here.
and it's sort of like feel for them to see themselves in the future too. I think
Right.
some of them are picking up their spaces, so we'll see. We'll be here for that long, hopefully. This is Flavia. She's a photographer, but you can see how there is a lot of intervention with fibers and thread as well. She does a lot of process photography, a lot of collage, very interested in the Amazonas.
I love collage.
So
It's beautiful.
Fernanda has a show now coming up in Brazil, a botanical garden, right?
Yes, in March. Yeah, we are finishing the pieces. This is one of the pieces.
Fernanda, I love your work so much.
Thank you. So this is one of the pieces. And I also dyed the threads that we are using to...
They're all dyed.
Yeah, all dyed.
All dyed.
With historical pigments.
Rings.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
You have to do just a chapter, just an episode
No,
on Fernanda's process.
I'm coming back for Fernanda.
Yes, please.
Because this is incredible. And this is an extension.
This is Mirelis Volkard, who's also very interested in nature. She's doing these beautiful pieces that are very ethereal. So she's trying to cast the shadows. This is all with the sew and wash material. So it's all stitched and then washed and then arranged in different layers. But they're very delicate. So a lot of things also that ties them into nature.
Incredible.
And the other day we were talking, and these here, most of the Brazilian artists, you could see the interest in nature. I think that deep-rooted understanding of the vast Amazonas comes with them everywhere they go. I noticed it the other day. Yeah. Anaviondo with the birds and all these. Anna, I tell her she's the fiber Matisse. So she uses all these felted material and she does these beautiful cutouts. And she does these installations in open spaces of these nature-like shapes as well. Very tiny and delicate felted pieces. Lots of words and messages.
Just in it.
Mhm.
How do you guys manage? Because it's so many people working in the space. Do you take turns? Is it?
Yeah, we take turns. We come 3 times a week here, and we meet and we adjust, of course.
Yeah.
We adjust.
It's such an incredible space. I would feel inspired every day.
So
These are incredible.
Juliana has a show now. She's also more into photography. She has a
Deering,
show now
yeah.
at the Deering Estate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're incredible. They're beautiful photos.
And the installation, it's an outdoor space with these windows, very see-through. Here it's a share space. Marine and Juana. Marine's very interested in the ocean and the water and how that connects us. So she has this whole series of swimmers. She's been a professional photographer for a long time.
Yeah.
And Juana, it's a collage artist. Juana works at the Bass Museum in Education too. So it's this match of the share space happen very organically too, because you have to have your better half to share the space.
How often? Well, is it like a year residency, or they could stay for however long?
It's a year residency, and we in the first year we had a couple of people moving. You have to get into the space if it's the right match for you and so forth.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of moves. We entered the second year and everyone is settled. This is Suzanne. She started like 3 months before Beto Murphy left. She started with us from scratch, and then she started her master's degree, and it was all the way south. So in terms of logistics, we tried to cover all basics to be able to not have an empty space. So Suzanne is Brazilian also. She's an explorer. She dives. So most of the pieces that you see here are photographs and maps when she goes very deep into the ocean. And I love how she described it as going into the womb, sort of like you go inside Mother Earth. Mm-hmm. So there's this very repetitive work of elements that she works with, and it's just sometimes there are 3-4 artists working in here, and it feels so nice to see everyone in their own.
I love this little piece of her.
She's doing a series where she's doing these very ordinary objects and just embroidering. She also does ceramics. She's doing these for an installation.
Yeah,
and they're like
really cool.
clamps, right? Like,
yeah.
Sylvia just moved in. She's Argentinian. I've known her for a very long time. So the studio was getting empty. Floor was here. She needed a bigger space. She's doing a bigger painting series. So this move, Sylvia has been working on these horoscope series. Right now, she had a photo shoot of all the work.
I see it, a Taurus.
So she's been year after year completing the horoscopes until she goes around the 12th month. And she does a lot of layers into the work. A lot of almost like collage, like fiber. pieces. She also does books. She was recently at the book fair, the one of a kind books Tropibound. So she was there.
I was just there. It was great.
This is Paola Mondolfi. Paola is Venezuelan, and she studied design and moved into these worlds when she found an abandoned chair in the pandemic. So there's something that she talks about, the chairs and the smell of the chairs, and remembering
Where people sit
her
and talk.
grandfather fixing up the chairs in the shop, and all these memories that come, and then finding that each chair is very particular to people. It's almost as if, that sense of belonging and the space that it's held by someone owning a chair. So there become, some have more of a design orientation, and some are become more sculptural art objects. So
I love that your spaces all have natural light too.
I mean, the location is wonderful.
It's such a great space.
And I think everyone has own it now. So we activated for the first time last month these walls over here. So each artist is taking a turn.
And you have an exhibition space.
Sylvia started. She was the first one who took the leap. So every first Friday of the month, we're doing open studios. And we're trying to create an activation in the other space and have an exhibit. And of course, the intention is that people come and have a conversation, have interest in the artist's work and their processes. And that's been going on for a year. So we just moved into the second stage of planning a little exhibit and activation. Katia, it's a writer, collage, watercolorist. She's been published, but she's like a bag of tricks. You talk to her and she's done it all. She has a New York board, and it's this humble, complete person. And I think really my enthusiasm here, it's the kind of people that we're surrounded by.
Yeah.
I think that, it's wonderful. This is Gloria. They share a space. Gloria is diving a lot into fibers. She works a lot with the human body. She's working on that series. And lastly, this is Mila Hayar, who's Italian Venezuelan. And Mila has been a painter for many years and just dived into fibers, and she's just like a maniac. She absorbs these and creates and works. She had a solo show at MIFA like 3 months ago, and it's getting ready for another show. But you see the vibrancy of her space. It's insane. This is her here. So the spaces go around. Bathrooms are here. This is Amalia Caputo, Priscilla, and Oriol. They're photographers. Photographer and Priscilla, it's another Brazilian artist that does painting. So what we're trying to do, it's kind of like create an event once a month that you could come and meet artists. This is my storage.
It's huge.
So it's where I keep everything. Oh, yeah.
It's such a great space.
And then you come back in a full circle.
In a full circle. Wow.
In here. And this piece, we were invited by the Coral Gables Museum to work. They had a show that were featuring artists in Coral Gables, and they invited us to do an installation. So all the artists worked together. We created a weaving, again, the red thread to bring everything together. And I kind of like directed the orchestra a little bit. I said, okay, we're going to create it this way. We're going to dress it. It was in between two columns. And then everyone, it's going to bring about 10 objects, elements, slash, whatever you want to call it, that creates sort of like a self-portrait. And we're going to start interweaving all those elements.
Yeah.
So this one was beautiful. This was Valeria Montag. She was at the studio. So her idea was that because it was a wall, you could be on both sides of the space. It's double-sided. So you could put it in here and the other person could listen to your heart.
That. Beautiful.
So it is double-sided.
Incredible.
You can see it on this side.
Look, want to hear it?
Let's
And
see.
here.
And here. Oh, I love it.
And this little area, it's where
It's
I'm creating on this machine. This is a fiber book I just finished.
Fiber book that it was like a story of me and my dad that my mom wanted to make. So this is me and my dad. It's the first one, and it starts with when I was bigger, and it says here.
You read it.
Okay. The little girl missed her dad. She wants to be next to him to hug him.
So let me tell the story. This was after a show that was called Childhood Memories that Bernice prompted the artist to work on these. And I had to go to a place that I was very uncomfortable with. My dad had left to come to the States when I was little. And out of having the contrast with her and my husband, I started to go into those recurrent thoughts. He didn't abandon me. I grew up perfectly fine, but it was those years I didn't see him again for years. You know, typical immigration story, separation story of many Cubans and people that come from different walks of life. So I wanted to create these books sort of like to, you know, like in an homage to those years, seeing this beautiful relationship and sort of like making reference to my own story. So this is in the works. So yeah, and this piece here, it was a reference. I wanted to upbring, again, childhood memories, and I wanted to have something very uplifting. There's a lot of joy and joyful moments that happen in here. So this was a photograph of my students juggling and bringing the play into it. So, yes.
This is such an incredible space. It really is a magical space. I could live here.
I had a friend that came during the last hurricane, and she stayed here, and she said, "This is all what I needed." It felt like church. It felt like a temple.
Like a temple. Yes. What's your advice to young artists, let's say, or students that want to do a co-op of their own? What do you think? Like, is there anything you wish you were told, even challenges or obstacles that might be, you know?
You know, there's always two sides of the story. I started these with these. I didn't have any business plan, any mock-up. You're getting into these, you're diving it together. That was one thing that I had the certainty that we were going to walk on this project together. So I had to be responsible, but I also had the backup and the trust of many people.
Yes.
So I think for artists, it's, you know, it might be very naive in a sense, but we do have to listen to our intuition. If I would have known from the get-go how organized I had to be, how I had to come up with invoices, how I had to come up with a contract liability
of it.
insurance and so forth. Maybe I would have never stepped into this role, but because we are helping each other, we're conducting this whole thing together. Everyone had patience. I had good guidance, and sort of like, I think it was meant to be, in a sense. Like, the space was making itself available for us and for me to be in my right mind to get it to go. So
Beautiful.
and for young artists, enjoy art. It's not always producing, but enjoying the process. And I always repeat that to myself when I'm in those stretch close dates of turning works. It's like I do have to enjoy the process, and that's what I chose to do what I do. So
Thank you so much, Aurora. I'm going to leave Aurora's contact info below, information about Red Thread Studio as well, and we'll definitely list all the artists.
And please come visit. Every first Friday we'll be here, and hope that this space could serve as a great inspiration for many people. So
thank you so much.
thank you, Millie.